George is 22 years old, and for him, sex is an addiction. Please welcome him to the show. Hi.
Yes.
Poa? So George, uko 22?
Yes.
Lakini naambiwa wewe sahi kuna kitu na struggle nayo.
Nimekuwa nikistruggle leo, sasa ndio na feel ile point sasa ni kama inaisha kabisa.
So how long have you been struggling with your addiction to porn?
It didn't start actually with porn. Ilianza tu na ile sex, and you know I lost my mom at a very young age. So unajua ukigrow up ile unaambiwa time will heal you, sijui nini, but unajua ule una miss say but hawezi express. Alafu unajua after high school ni ile self discovery. Sasa unaanza kuwa mwanaume, unaanza kucheki madem, unaanza kuinfluensiwa na mabeshte wako and all. Sasa hapo ndio ilianzia.
So wewe ulianza kuwa sexually active at which age?
Can we say 17?
At 17
Yeah.
years. Okay. And at which point did you now start seeing that, okay, I'm getting addicted to sex?
If unajua mi sikuwa ile ati addicted, nenda kwa dem tunabongania, man introvert by person. So mi ilikuwa nile niko na so 2 so 5 najua mashimo za tao. So mi nilikuwa najua machuom na naishi Mlolongo. So najua tu maeria zenye nitaenda so 2 10 minutes mi nimemaliza. So ilifika tu point unaona hadi inabidi tu nadanganywa sawa kutumia pesa, ile pesa umesave inaisha tu yote. Hapo ndio realize this thing now is actually a very bad thing.
So ikakuwa sasa ile unalipa, you're paying for it.
Yeah.
So at what point did you now start going online to get it?
Because you can't pay every day and it's very costly. So unaona, if you don't have money to pay, so you just go on your mobile 20 bob, kuna 100 MBs, kuna masites tu hapo, kwa alone, unajifungia kwa hao yako, maybe unakaa kwa hostel, so uko tu peke yako, unaambiwa sasa mimi tu nimetulia peke yangu, sipendangi kelele nyingi, lakini uko ndani, you know what you're doing.
Is this something that you've shared with someone, perhaps try to seek help for?
I seeked help first. At first nilianza tu kushare na mabeshte wangu, then one of my friends told me, have you shared with the folks? So mi nikaenda nikachapia wasi wa home, nikaget help from like a pastor, but haikuwork. So ile one day mi tu niko maziara zangu tao, so mi nimetoka tu hivi form, nikasikia mtu amenigonga hapa, kijana si umejibamba? So unajua tu utadhania ni mwizi, but then ilikuwa police, wakanishika, wakani-explainia, this thing is bad, you should stop, seek help, this and this and this. And then from there ndio nikashare with like my brother-in-law, nikaanza kuenda counseling from there.
So you were arrested for watching in a public?
No, I was arrested after nimetoka kuhave. Sasa unajua ile police wanakuanga wamejificha tao hizi jua. So mimi nimetoka tu nikidhania tu ni mwizi, ananiambia una nini. So mimi nikitry kukimbia akaniambia usikimbie sana, si ni police tutakushutia tu hapa.
So how did your family try to help you now deal with it after that arrest?
They looked for a counselor, alafu ndio sasa nikaanza kwenda hizo sessions, alafu sasa pia nikaanza get your confidence to work from it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to introduce Ernest. So Ernest spoke earlier whereby he gave some advice, but I really want him to come on and perhaps just try to see whether he can give some form of insight to George, because as well, Ernest is a father right now. He's a former porn addict, so he's recovered, and he runs Powerhouse, which is a men's pornography addiction recovery program. And the fact is this, if today you went to Google and checked what are some of the most visited sites in Kenya, porn sites. And the reality is both males and females, young people, are consuming content from these websites. So this is something that we must talk about, because like you're seeing from George's story, addiction is real. Addiction is not just for alcohol and drugs. There are other forms of addiction that can actually be very harmful to a young person's future. So please help me welcome Ernest. Ernest, welcome to Real Talk. So you spoke earlier and you mentioned that porn is something that you've personally struggled with.
Yes.
And you were able to overcome it. And
Yes.
right now you're living a more fulfilled life. So here we have George, a young man, 22 years old.
Yeah.
And I have to applaud him because he's recognized that he's struggling with something, because there are so many other young men like him who have their heads buried in the sand,
Yeah.
whereby they have a problem, but until they recognize it's a problem, they can't really be helped.
Yes, so it's a real struggle. That's for one. I normally, when I talk to my class, I tell them, let's admit that the struggle is real, that men are struggling. And my struggle began in campus. And for the very first time, I experienced freedom like I'd never experienced before. And with that came a lot of liberalism with my entertainment, and then it led to an addiction. So I was stuck in it silently for a very long time. Members of my church didn't know, my family didn't know. My mom is an Anglican vicar, all right? So it was very difficult to come out and speak about it, just like George was saying, like, where do you go? Who do you talk to? And you talk to many people and they think this is a problem that you need someone else who maybe understands it to go through it. So that's why I made a vow that as soon as I got out, I decided to help men who are struggling with such addictions to get out. And that's how we started our program, Powerhouse. Yes.
So, for instance, because we do know that, like you've said, it's an addiction.
Yes.
And addiction is a form of disease.
Yes.
And right now we're talking about kufungua duka na kufunga duka.
Yeah.
And earlier on you had like the points that Diane was making, whereby for a lot of young men right now, they are disillusioned.
Yes.
There is no more trust in what love and commitment is supposed to be.
All right.
So you'll realize this, and especially with porn as an addiction, whereby someone might think, oh, I'm not having physical sex with a woman, but I can still get the same high
Yes.
through the internet. Is that,
Yes.
is that probably how you got hooked? And it's cheaper.
Yeah, it's actually cheaper. So unajua like with 50 bob, you are like sorted for almost 3 days. Na afu unajua when you are very creative, you have a safe in your phone, in your laptop, so umezificha tu huko. And then
You
download and you save.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think we also need to understand how addictions work for us to understand that it may be cheap, it may look safe from the outside, but it really does have a long-term effect. If you just look at several studies that have been done on pornography causes premature ejaculation. So when you finally get to a point when you do settle down with a woman, it does affect your sex life, all right? Pornography and masturbation, which go hand in hand, also, this is what a neurologist will tell you, that once you consume pornography, there's a chemical in your brain called dopamine that's released. Dopamine is a feel-good chemical. It tells you, oh, that was so good. Let's do this again.
It's the high.
It's the high, exactly, dopamine. But the more you consume it, neurologists tell us that there's another chemical that is produced in your brain, and they call it delta force B. Delta force B is called by neurologists the addiction protein. And what delta force B does is that it sends a different message to your brain. It tells your neurons, let's do this now. You see, dopamine tells the brain, let's do this again. Dopamine can wait. But delta force B tells the brain, let's do this now. And you get compulsive disorders where you want to consume the product immediately, no matter where you are.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I had to ask you, George, are you willing to work with Ernest?
I'm willing.
If he told you that he's willing to invite you to Powerhouse, mentor you, work with you, and you know that it's not something that can be fixed overnight, you have to commit. Are you willing to make that promise?
Yes, I'm at a space where I think I'm willing to work.
And if he's willing, I'm willing.
And I think as well, if you're watching this from home and this is something that you're struggling with or a loved one of yours is struggling with, please reach out. We'll put you in contact with Ernest, and you can actually get them the kind of understanding, you know, help, somebody who's walked down that path to help them at least deal with that addiction. Now, as I promised you earlier, this is a man's conference, but you know what they say, yeah? Behind every successful man or strong man, there is a woman. So the women asked me, Tamima, to actually get in the heads of the men and find out a few crucial things when it comes to love, relationships, and of course, sex. So right now, I want to throw it to my men's audience. The girls wanted to know from you, at which point are we in a committed relationship? Because I believe there is a girl watching this man's conference. She believes she's in a relationship with one of you here. Lakini wewe umeniambia uko single. Naona mkicheka, mnajijua. So at which point, what defines a relationship, guys?
So thank you for the opportunity. I am Brian. So I am Brian, and I think somebody commits themselves from when they are free with your friends, they are free with your family, because you see, me knowing your family helps me.
So Ilya, Alex here, I don't know her friends, she doesn't know mine. That's not a relationship.
I think that's an insecurity. It's a tactic many guys use. I've also ever used it because I was not ready to commit myself. And once I'm interested in knowing your friends and knowing your family, I think I'm a bit committed to you, and you should see that as a positive sign.
Okay.
Yeah.